Welcome back to Module 7, Lesson 2. Today we are going to discuss passive versus active. So again, we kind of know already when to use static stretching, when to use strength-based active stretching. Now, we are going to look at active static stretching. So if you still struggle in kind of applying your flexibility into your aerial work, if you feel that your passive stretching feels good but doesn't improve your active range, or that you can sit in your split but still can't find some active flexibility, then this lesson will cover it. We'll look at passive stretching again, the role of active engagement in your deep hold, and how to balance passive and active stretching for optimal results. So when I speak about active stretching, yes, we looked at passive and then your active flexibility, your strength-based flexibility, and now we're going to look at active stretching. So again, the passive stretching, we use gravity, prop, and a partner. It requires little to no muscular engagement, and it's quite common in yoga, relaxation, and deep static holds. The active is that we use no external support, so we try and find this hold in a position. We require strength in end range, and it's quite common in gymnastics, aerial dance, and strength-based flexibility training. Passive front split, you just relax in a stretch. Active front split, you lift your arms above your head and you engage your legs to hold the position with that support. So I repeat this a lot, but this is always standing true. So passive stretching alone is not enough because it only gives temporary flexibility but does not improve the control. We've talked about that again. Yeah, so your nervous system may not own the range. You rely too much on passive stretching that causes joint laxity but no strength, and you can't hold it actively. So you need to combine passive and active flexibility training. So you must have heard these concepts quite a lot. However, you need to think about it in the context of what we've discussed before and making sure that you work your mobility and your strength-based flexibility, your end range conditioning, your PNF, your pels and rails, your pals and rails, and your cars. So you have to also use passive stretching for deep tissue relaxation, which is also necessary. And the nervous system also need to understand that sometimes it is a relaxation. But then you need to follow up with an active engagement drills to reinforce the flexibility. So I think you have noticed how we do in my classes. We do a little bit of passive, but we also do the active. Remember that the secret to real contortion training is to be able to look completely relaxed, but still be active, still holding our bodies together. So make sure as well that you keep training isometric holds to build your long-term stability in deep range. Yeah, so the strongest, most flexible athlete train both. Now, how to engage muscle in deep static holds. Again, we're going to look at the key muscles groups. Yes, glute and hamstring, so important. Your hip flexors and adductor. Glutes and hamstring prevent overstretching of the hip flexor. You control your split positioning with the hip flexors, and your core and your lower back maintain your neutral pelvic alignment. So instead of sinking into split, try slightly lifting the back leg off the ground. So when we say lifting, it's just kind of pushing into the ground and kind of squeezing your legs as well. Instead of passive holding, you are going to start squeezing every bit of muscle. You are going to start pointing your toes. Instead of hanging in the deep lunge, you want to try and pull yourself in active as well. So if you can't do splits yet, you're going to go into a low lunge or your half split, and you are going to try and really engage this. Again, I tend to get frustrated when I see people not engaging properly. Yes, even in passive stretching, we are not dumping, we are actively holding ourselves. Yeah, so try to work on the differences. Yeah, so engagement turn passive range into active control. Now let's look at a few drills. Again, if you do the program and if you do the classes, this will kind of be easy for you because you are doing them in the session. Front splits, hands lightly on the ground. Again, if you can't do the front split, then you start into your half split or your very low lunge with the foot slightly more forward, your front foot slightly more forward than just a regular lunge. Yeah, you engage everything. You try and lift the back leg. So what we do when I don't know if you've seen in the classes, but we start going into this very low lunge. We hold onto the blocks, for example, And then we're going to start tucking the toes and lifting the back leg. You hold, and then we lower nice and slowly. So then that turns into a lower passive split. And then we go back into an active and passive. So you must have noticed that if you've done the classes quite consistently, you've noticed that we do these drills. So this is going to be more for the middle split, but those are also straddle press, wide straddle, lifting the legs off at the same time. Great for aerialists, especially to work on your straddle lifts and your straight arm straddles. Glute bridge split hold, so preventing passive overstretching. Push into a glute bridge, extend that leg into a split hold. So you can hold it again in front of you, or you can pull that leg towards you in order to engage a bit more into your hip flexor. Balancing your passive and active. Again, a little table here for you. Passive holds are for post-workout recovery. Yeah, after your actual weight training. Active holds is strength-based flexibility, so more towards your end of your flexibility practice. And your isometric engagement, which we discussed in previous lessons, is to train your stability 3 times per week. So those are like the perfect training ratio. Yes, always follow with active work to reinforce the control. But also remember that this is a benchmark. Yes, you have to build your own routine. So again, the key takeaways that we've done is looking at passive stretching, but also looking at how active engagement in your static hold are important to balance as well. So your learning activity today is to test your passive flexibility and your active range. So again, this is very good to observe when you practice the classes and take notes and start applying a bit more active holds in your flexibility session. So you can start using a bit more the drills that you learn into the class as well, into your active holds rather than just passive. In the last lesson of this module, we are going to discuss how to train static holds without overstretching, so the best training frequency and timing, how to track the progress without injuring yourselves, and how to prevent overstretching and joint instability. So I will see you in the final lesson of module 7.